Hello, animal lovers. I hope you're enjoying your summer, getting some time to step outside, be creative, and if not, I really think this one will inspire you. I recently completed an 11 by 14 commission of Isa, the most adorable Australian Shepherd. Today, I'm going to share an up-close view of how I use some basic techniques to capture Isa's true essence in her eyes and face. And by the way, if you missed my most recent step-by-step tutorial, very similar to Isa, I'll make sure I link that in the description down below. Let's get started. Now, before I even pick up a paintbrush, I always like to gather lots of videos and photos of the pet from the client to help me identify the unique personality. And Isa is this gentle, confident soul, very energetic, very smart. As you can see, she is a well-trained dog. Her mom takes her to this dog training gym, and she's a queen, guys. She even gets home-cooked meals from her mama. So I wanted to capture that love, that gentle spirit, that curiosity and intellect in her eyes, the angle of her face, the expression with her eyebrows and her ears. And so today I'm going to share some simple, basic techniques that I used to help express this. Starting with this left eye right here, I did not add a bold black outline around the entire eye. I left the bottom highlighted with a gray. I'm using a size 0 Arteza spot brush using a wide range of different grays. So to keep those eyes calm looking, soft, but inquisitive, I added more of a light gray at the bottom of the eye, especially on that left side where that light source is. The eyes are not wide open, they're also not closed. And even though she's got that cute, adorable head tilt, those pupils are directed straight at the viewer. And the size of those pupils indicates her gentleness. They're not too big, they're not too small. And do you notice I didn't add these big, bold highlights at all yet? I added this very subtle little light gray over top inside the pupils on both sides. To add depth, I see so many artists neglect this. They go straight to those bold, bright, crisp highlights over top the pupils. But try before that to get those subtle medium grays inside the pupils first. Now, eyebrows can say a lot about how the dog's feeling, thinking. But before I talk about that, I want to mention that you notice how I did the eyes, and now working around that left eye, I'm working on the fur. To prevent me from getting overwhelmed with detail, I just focus on one body part at a time. And notice how I added a gray eyebrow above that left eye. Because I want to make this looking more realistic and also soft and gentle, I am not going straight in with my bright browns or oranges or vibrant colors. I want to layer slowly from dark to light. And that's why I chose to use gray for the eyebrows, a layer of gray before I'll add the color over top. Now, to indicate this curious but friendly look, I made sure there was a slight arch in those eyebrows and that they're slightly lifted above the eyes. So it's curving in the direction of the curve of the eye, and this really helps the viewer to connect with the dog. It's as if Isa just heard her favorite word. She's eager, she's curious, and I'm also indicating this in the ears. I've angled her ears slightly forward, so they're just a little bit perky, but still relaxed, not stiff and rigid. Her ears are framing the face, and so there's a nice subtle shadow, but still dark around both ears. Now I'm actually using the angle brush size 6 by Arteza because this is such a dark ear, dark side of the face, that I still want to get that fur texture, but cover more surface area. So that can be so helpful. But then I switched to a size 1 round brush so that I can very neatly cut in to that background with that fur texture. And on that note, I personally think that emphasizing the fluffiness and the softness of dog breeds like this, and to add a bit more warmth to this fur, I pulled in more raw umber, raw sienna, and a bit of yellow ochre. Now, another really fun way to communicate the personality of the pet is by adding in accessories. its favorite blanket, its favorite toys. I noticed in the photos that the client sent, Issa loves this little pink strawberry covered bow tie, and I'm like, I gotta add this. This brings in this sweet, light-hearted vibe to the painting. It's just another layer of life, literally, and vitality with the strawberries, with the color red that's also gonna have some greens in it to complement those reds and pinks. And now for the white fur. You can see that I've done all the darks, the dark fur, even the brown fur. I did the bow tie, the blanket, the background, and now I'm finally working on the white fur. And do you notice that this isn't even straight white? The second layer over top my base of fluorescent pink and white, I'm adding a medium gray. And do you also notice that I only have markings on the darker side of the white fur, that right side? So it's because I'm gonna be layering light strands over top those markings. Those markings are just the underlayer, the markings that we see on the skin. And it's very short fur, and so we can see the fur over top that. In this second layer, I'm also not entirely covering up the pink. That's why I love a wash of pink first over top the whole canvas, so that little bits of pink can pop out from the bottom. I just love that color. Now, the other reason I leave the white fur to the end or the middle is so that I can do just this. I could layer those light strands over top the dark areas. It's where those fine lines, and in this case with Issa, there's some that are straight, there's some that are curving, and even spiral looking. I can do those fine lines with the detail brush over top the dark fur. Now, the order in which I place this paint really does matter, because for this reason, I can now gauge how light or dark to make that light brown for the eyebrows. Seeing it now up against the dark gray and some of the dark browns, I now know how dark, but not too dark, not too light to make the eyebrows, because I want to draw attention to them, but not too much. And then once I have that in, now I can add the lighter markings that are facing the light source. They're not as dark as the ones on the lower right side of the muzzle. I added more white to these. So while I let those markings dry, I move on to the wispy, light colored fur that's sticking out and pushing up against that shoulder. And I need to make sure I have these lines so clean, so neat in before I add those long whiskers over top. Now, this layer that I'm using with my small angle brush is so important because it really does create depth. It's just a little bit lighter than the previous layer that I added to the white fur. It's almost white, and it's where I cut over top some of those markings. Those markings aren't just gonna be straight black, they're gonna have fur over top them. And I wanted to also get some of that fur texture, but much darker, so I added in more raw umber and gray on the right side and the dark fur, having little strands of light gray, but also lighter strands of the darker gray. It was that step that was probably the most tedious, lots of work there, but this final one was so fun to just wrap it up. Before I added the whiskers, I added those hints of color. I pulled in more orange to complement the blue blanket. I even added in more pink to just draw that out from the bottom layer. I added in more yellow ochre into the browns on the left side of the face. Then in the final step, which I didn't get a chance to film, were the whiskers. Now, if this inspired you, if it encouraged you, can I invite you to join my newsletter? There, I share regular color, creativity, and hope to help you on your own healing creative journey. Bye.